Колеги, ми продовжуємо.
We continue our working day in UCMC. The topic of the next press conference is situation of Ukrainian IPDs, rights and freedoms. Our speakers are Anatoliy Putintsev, Oleksandr Kyselyov, Viktor Ivkin, and Sviltlana Lukianchenko from different NGOs. And later, Natalia Omelchenko will join us, the chairman of another NGO.
Добрый день.
Good afternoon, esteemed friends. Today we are here as the representatives of NGOs, which are working on issues of IDPs. That's a new term that we are now using. Unfortunately, this term shows the situation that we have. We will not be talking about political issues today, about the situation in ATO zone, which is very difficult. We'll be talking about the situation with IDPs. What happened in 2014 is the fundamental change, which could be compared to the disintegration of the Soviet Union. According to official statistical information, 1,650,000 people moved from ATO zone. Unofficial data say that it's about 2.5 million people. According to UN Convention, which defines the rights of citizens and actions of the state in relation to immigrants, refugees, and IDPs, there are the following stages. The first stage, which is humanitarian. The task of the state is to feed, to provide temporary social housing so that people can get some assistance. This period, according to UN norms, lasts for half a year. Unfortunately, this period has been delayed here. Certain things were done thanks to the voluntary organizations, thanks to local authorities and international organizations, those who managed, who were allocating some money. I'm talking about international organizations. We are now moving towards the second stage, and during the first stage, the necessity, the needs assessment is made. We want to say that out of 1.5 million, 1.5 or 2.5 million, I refer to the data of CMIS. Out of all of them, minimum 26% will never go back to the homeland. So basically, from 500,000 to 1 million and maybe more people will not go back there. And we are from organizations that are working on these issues, and we understand that this will be a gray zone for many, many years ahead. The gray zone, it does not even depend on whether it is Russia or not Russia, even if it is the territory which will be under control of Ukraine. Still, this will remain to be the gray zone. We understand it, and those people who moved understand it. Now we need to work systemically on providing housing. The state is not doing it. There should be the interaction between international organizations, the state, and even scientific organizations. And of course, the state should be leading in this work, because drafting the laws, drafting regulations will give a signal for international organizations to allocate money. We talk to them a lot. They are ready, but they're waiting for a clear signal. But the state has not developed the strategy about what to do with the IDPs. There is the strategy, but the strategy is defined in such a way not to notice or reintegrate, send them back to where they were, and then the problem will be addressed, resolved. But there are reasons why people will not go back. We're not saying that serious budgetary funds are to be allocated. We need to understand that if there is a clear program, the governmental program, then we'll be able to attract serious international organizations, we'll be able to get technical assistance, grants, investments. IDPs are not the burden for the state. It's a serious potential which may help develop Ukraine, because most of them, despite some information in mass media, most of people who left these areas, they basically labor resources. And NGOs are ready to influence the governmental structures, and we are getting united into different coalitions. And we, on the 17th of December, we organized a big national forum on rights and freedoms of IDPs. I would like to give the floor to Oleksandr Kyselyov.
Добрый день.
Good afternoon. I would like to speak about the NGO which I represent, Ukrainian Protection. Its name is we conducted our operations in the city of Gorlovka. Now we located in Dnipropetrovsk region. We deal with providing assistance to IDPs. We know their problems from our own experience, because we are from Gorlovka, which is now occupied. We have initiated the project for entrepreneurs, for businesses who had moved from ATO area, and we elaborated a roadmap of lobbying IDP's interests, and we reached the conclusion that the NGOs which deal with assistance to IDPs should unite their efforts, because even in Dnipropetrovsk region we have great number of NGOs in this sector, but our efforts are not coordinated, and as soon as we unite, join our efforts, our efficiency will raise times higher, and we are now inviting international community and governmental authorities to discuss how can we address these problems and what solutions can be elaborated. In November, we had such a meeting, and many experts and international organizations representatives were present there, as well as the representatives of executive authorities from the government, and we understood that we have many professional decisions, and having the information then on February 17th, 2016, there will be parliamentary hearings on these problems. We understood that we should join the efforts and establish a wide coalition. We know that there are very many associations and coalitions in this area, and anyway, all of them are not coordinated in their activities. So we decided to join the efforts so that on February 17, 2016, we can provide very specific recommendations to the parliament to be ready to provide such comments. We should study all the opinions and create the working group of experts to elaborate the recommendations. That is why we offer to everyone who have expertise in this field to unite and to become a member of this working group. We will be further talking of the next steps today, of those programs which have already been elaborated and submitted to the governmental authorities, and they remain pending in the offices. And now I'm giving the floor to Andrei, who will tell us about the next steps. And we will discuss these next steps later. I am from the Congress of Eastern Ukraine. My name is Viktor Ivkin. Thank you to our audience for the interest to this issue, but this topic is even for mass media sources is not the top one. The top on agenda. We should understand that 1.5 million of officially registered ADPs, this is a rather large group of people which now experience uncomfortable conditions. They have lost their environment, they have lost their homes, and on the one hand, we experience nostalgia, but at the same time, on the other hand, we understand that this local motherland is lost. This process can develop according to two scenarios. We should not look on the IDPs as a burden, which paradigm have been promoted. They are potential IDPs. This is the manpower, and this potential may be an investment potential for those regions which experience the deficit of investments and labor force. Administrative territorial reform today can use this manpower to attract more investments? How can this be implemented? For this process, the people should be told one true thing. According to objective political interests, we understand that this is a geopolitical conflict, and the conflict between the countries of Ukraine and Russia, and the internal political conflict which started in 2004. We can see the trends that on the international arena we do not have any influence, and in the international conflict between Ukraine and Russia we can have some impact, but through such international institutions as the European Commission and UN. And since 2004, nothing has been done to ensure reconciliation between these powerful groups, which are the root of the conflict, and we should understand that this conflict is for a long term. That is why the IDPs will remain here on the other territories of Ukraine also for a long period. Can this be reintegrated back? Of course they can, if we create here even worse conditions than in the territories occupied by Russians. Well, but this is not the solution. These people are the manpower, which is potential. What kind of potential is this? The IDPs have lost their communities, their workplaces, and the property. What does it mean? What does the term property mean? This is housing which had been lost. You can't use it because from objective perspective, is this an asset or is this an expenditure? If we have the national policy focus so that this property is consolidated, assessed, and the requirement and used as an asset which has value. How big this value is, this is another question, but it could be evaluated and could be used to attract investments. Who is the defendant if we claim this property? If this is the war conflict, the figure of aggressor will be identified sooner or later, and this would be either the aggressor country or our own government. There are some
mechanisms which allow us to do so. We have a very simple thing. For all housing programs, for servicemen, for all social groups of people, for all. There are 2 billion allocated in the budget. Even if that money is given to IDPs, and of course this will cause tension between these groups.
Получается на 1,5 миллиона.
This will be about 750 hryvnias per person if we take even 1.5 million people. 2-3 minutes. Omelchenko Natalia, chairman of the NGO. Our organization represents the interests of IDPs practically all over Ukraine. And the main message that I would like to give you is a systemic violation of rights of IDPs, human rights, constitutional rights, and the rights which are guaranteed by the special legislation for IDPs. Despite the fact that a year and a half passed since the moment the conflict started, there has not been a comprehensive state program passed on integration of IDPs, and no regional programs are passed. Despite the fact that the process of forming the budget is taking place, there are no articles for, no lines for IDPs in the budget. Despite the inflation, despite the exchange rate course, we see the discrimination, both direct and indirect. And the forum that we had to draw attention of not just the IDPs, but all others to the problems of IDPs. Many IDPs are not officially registered, so more than 2 million people. These are disabled people, elderly people, Chernobyl veterans, Afghan veterans. They had to leave their homes and stay without any rights. Now we, together with the colleagues, initiated the process of giving to every IDP the status of the member of territorial community. And this process shouldn't be some separate process. Every person that lives in a certain administrative territorial community for more than 6 months is a member of territorial community. But we need to, and all these things are to be guaranteed by the Constitution. So what we should be standing for is we should help IDPs to become more active. Second, to initiate a powerful interaction with the executive bodies, with local authorities on passing the comprehensive programs. And maximum protection of IDPs. Good afternoon, I'm Sviltlana Lukianchenko. I am from Lugansk, and for a year and a half I've been living in Dnipropetrovsk. I'm from the NDP, from NGO, and we founded our organization in May this year to help protect the rights of IDPs, because we understand that the state does not hear an individual, and if we get united, then it is difficult to do so. But we love to say that we are a big force together. We prove that we can have an active position in life, and this will help you. We organize different events, and we, together with the partners from Dnipropetrovsk, organized the forum where we were saying that the rights of IDPs are violated, and we were saying that we are not heard at the level of the state. Today, having this opportunity, I would like to address the leadership of the country, and I would like to tell them, million, maybe 2 million of people are not at home. Million of people are waiting for support. Why are you doing it? So that sometimes that sometimes it looks like a genocide. The experience of my family, of my friends, our parents cannot move, for example. My grandmother is there. And to cross the contact line, people die because they have to wait for 8 or 12 hours in line. We see that the Ukrainian side continues to take money to let people enter the territory of Ukraine. At the forum, we see and we would like to initiate the meeting of people near the parliament on the 17th of February. There will be the parliamentary hearings on IDPs. Now we are working in Dnipropetrovsk region, in Kiev, and we call upon all the IDPs not to think that this is not something for you. We invite everyone to buy a ticket, to come here to show that we do care, that we are there. Thank you. Thank you, friends. Unfortunately, we have to finish our press conference. We don't have any time left for questions. See you again. Our next briefing of Colonel Lysenko will take place in half a minute.